Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I was actually going to call it quits for the day, and then I saw this video. Is America running out of people? And I thought, surely not. How can it be? But yeah, it sparked my interest, so we're going to be checking it out. Before we get into the video, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you're feeling extra frisky, you may as well give the video a like as well. And without further ado, let's check out, is America running out of people? If it is, there's 4 of us here who are more than happy to come and contribute to the population.
Overpopulation. For the past 5 decades, Earth experienced an extreme population boom, with that epic rise in worldwide population more than doubling the planet's population over just a handful of decades, going from 3.7 billion people in 1970 to 7.5 billion people today, causing
that's
a
a big
relentless
jump.
panic as experts wondered just how many humans Earth and its limited resources could safely support.
If we do not, by humane means, limit our numbers, then numbers are going to be limited by more famines and shortages and consequent social conflict.
However, while nations like the South Sudan, Syria, and Uganda are still growing at the almost unthinkable pace of nearly 5% every year, more established countries like the United States, with a giant population of more than 336 million, are becoming increasingly concerned with a different set of population problems: underpopulation. Depopulation, or population collapse, is the distinct and significant reduction in how many people live somewhere. But is the United States experiencing this population collapse? Well, maybe, or perhaps not. But before I break down America's downtrending population growth, we first need to look at how it peaked and the shaky pillars propping up that decline. See, the US is the world's 3rd most populous country, only having less citizens than China and India, which have populations in the billions. The United States has the world's highest GDP, or gross domestic product, though, with an annual GDP of more than $20 trillion, making it about 10 times higher than the UK, about 5 times higher than Germany, and about 41...
Well, fun fact, I got a thing on my phone or something this morning that Germany has just gone into recession, which is quite scary I know the world's in a sort of recession at the moment, but no one's really come out and said anything, have they? And it was on the breaking news thing on my phone.
0.9% higher than China, which has 4 times as many people. Inequality. There has long been this question of if the United States is really a wealthy nation, or just a nation for the ultra-wealthy to benefit off everyone else. That's important for several reasons, obviously, but it really ties into healthy population growth, as we're seeing young Americans wait longer than ever before to even consider family building or having children. See, the official U.S. poverty rate was 14.4% in 2022, with nearly 48 million Americans living in abject poverty that year, and with millions more living dangerously close to the poverty line. Really, it's almost impossible to define America's true line of poverty, because the cost of living in places like Birmingham, Alabama, is worlds apart from the cost of living in a place like San Francisco, California. But with the national minimum wage now representing its lowest real value since 1956, let's just say poverty is increasingly problematic for the world's richest nation. In fact, the bottom 50% of Americans only hold 1.2% of the nation's wealth, while just the top 1% hold about 35% of the nation's wealth.
That's scary.
And 43% of renters and 5% of homeowners in the US are now in serious danger of losing their homes, in a housing market where, even back in 2019, it was estimated that the US was short nearly 4 million housing units when accounting for demand. Something that has only worsened since, but that brings me to the next pillar: regional decline. Now, regional decline is something that has always happened pretty much everywhere. That's to say, there are regions and cities within...
We did a video that was sort of based on regional decline the other day, didn't we? Where they were offering the free land because the population of those towns and cities were dropping. Do you ever think it's going to plateau, though? Do you think that the property prices are ever going to get to a point where they've got to start going down again? Or have they started going down where you are? For example, when we bought our house that we're living in now... years ago, Kat and I have been together 17 years, and I think we got it just after we got together. Back then, with the conversion and that, it was something like £20,000, and now the house we're living in, let's say 16 years ago, 15 years ago, we bought this house. So that was like 25,000 pounds. Now it is worth 180 to 200 and something, depending on if we add the land that we've got with it as well, which is insane when you think about how much it's gone up. What the heck was that? Yeah, so I don't know. What are the property prices around you doing? Are they going up or going down? I know here in Slovakia it has gone crazy, and which sucks because I wanted to buy some land and a little farm and stuff, but hey, you can't win them all.
That has always happened pretty much everywhere. That's to say, there are regions and cities within the United States that are objectively more affordable. Places like Detroit, St. Louis, and Memphis. But those cities have already seen entire neighborhoods bulldozed down, as a sharp lack of interest, basic
Whoa.
upkeep, and investment have harmed the reputations to
Detroit,
a point
isn't it?
where millions simply want to stay far away. And while I won't be opening that can of worms today, if you would like to see a video on why I believe the American Rust Belt is making a comeback, please let me know in the comment section below. But my point here is that while cities like Miami and Los Angeles, shoot, even Salt Lake City and Austin, are increasingly unaffordable and experiencing major housing shortages and overpopulation, other portions of the US have struggled with keeping even the few residents they have left, as many Americans continue fleeing out of places that were once very sought after, flooding the red-hot Sunbelt region, which probably already has more residents than it can handle. A big part of that is the final pillar of America's underlying population problem. I'm talking about infrastructure here, and you could argue that it's also economic opportunity and safety. But lacking infrastructure and city building lies at the root of those issues as well, as the American regions that get the most infrastructure investment tend to perform the best, while the regions that perform the best tend to get the lion's share of infrastructure investment, creating a feedback loop that has left giant portions of the nation almost empty, while a city like New York has more than 27,000 residents for every square mile. But even many principal U.S. cities suffer from crumbling infrastructure, with America on the whole having awful public transportation, poor roads with terrible traffic, aging utilities, and with far too many rural communities completely lacking access to affordable broadband internet. Don't get me wrong, it isn't just the United States.
Yeah, I never thought it would be like that. I thought you would have Wi-Fi and internet access everywhere. Really, I've never really given it much thought. We have a problem here. Whenever there's wind, it happened on the Saturday on the live. Actually, it got really windy and our internet kept dropping out. And our TV, if it rains for like more than an hour straight, the reception on the signal on the TV goes down. So yeah, our internet is not very reliable, but when we've got it, it's really good.
Nations face similar issues, and many European countries have worse poverty and even slower population growth. But this channel is focused on North America, usually the United States. And well, America's changing. But the question is America underpopulated? Or more importantly, is the United States heading to population collapse? No, I really don't believe the US will experience total population collapse, certainly not anytime soon. However, that isn't to say America shouldn't be concerned with its population problems, because while the US currently has its highest population ever, with underpopulation seemingly nowhere in sight, the most important demographic data is currently trending in a concerning direction. Even if you ignore the unprecedented past couple of years, the rate of population growth in the United States had already halved from 0.83% in 2009 to just 0.4% in 2019. And this graph here on the screen even further punctuates how American population growth has already shifted significantly, with it peaking back in 1950 and then hitting a lower high in 2000 and downtrending at an accelerated rate ever since. But this other graph from the same source is even more startling, as net migration and birth rates have crashed over recent years. See, the birth rate in the United States has been declining across every demographic group, while life expectancy recently dropped to its lowest point since 1996. That alone equates to a shrinking population, at least over time and overall, and yet the US population is also aging at an increasingly significant rate too, with there being 46 million Americans over the age of 65 today, but a projected 90 million by just 2050, about doubling the nation's senior population, at a time when the overall population is hardly growing at all.
Yeah, at the moment, I don't think it's running out of people. I think it's more sparsely populated, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. I did read something the other day that women are having children later and later every year. So now it's like I can't remember the percentages, but some weirdly high percentage of women in their 30s are quite happy to not have children. And I'm not saying women are only there for children. Please don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's quite a strong statistic, because Kat really wanted to have kids. I really wanted to have kids. I'm so that's the best thing I've ever done was become a parent. But I think nowadays there's more focus on careers and that sort of thing, which is fine. It's just the population is is suffering, isn't it? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. That was a really interesting video. I'm glad it popped up, actually. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you all in the next video. Peace.